Hey everybody, it's Karen Anderson here with Aortic Hope Live with this week's Week in Review. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. I also have with me our guest co-host, Diane Bishop from Aortic Health Unlimited. It's all smoke and mirrors what we look like here because we just came off of a whirlwind weekend enjoying the symposium and concert with Rock from the Heart. Boy, I got to tell you, they know how to put on an event, don't they, Diane?
They absolutely do.
It was amazing. So first up, we had Friday, which was this great, informative, educational symposium. I just wanted to let you know, Diane. We had a snowstorm. Let's talk about that. Let's be real. There was a Snowmageddon event that happened in Minnesota. So we had to change our plans a little bit. So weren't there on our scheduled time frame. But on Friday, it was an amazing array of speakers talking and educating the public. I got some great information to share. Then we got to have a dinner and we just got to mingle. And that was so much fun, getting a chance to see all of the other survivors and caregivers and place faces with names, etc. And then I'm not sure what you guys did on Saturday, but my little team, we went back to Paisley Park and did a better tour this time, even better, and got to check out more sound stages and all kinds of stuff from anything Prince. And I love Prince. So it was a weekend of two of my favorite loves. So I had Prince in all of his glory, and then there came that nighttime, and we had the VIP event. This VIP event was gorgeous. It was at the Fillmore Theater right there in Minneapolis, right on First Avenue. Beautiful chandeliers. I know Diane went live. I went live. We had Mr. Hart walking around in his Hart costume. Pictures with a big, gigantic Rick Springfield head, wonderful food, lots of prizes, raffle, silent auctions, 50-50. It was a lot of fun. And then it was time for the concert. And you had an opportunity to see Pete Johnson's band because I was waiting in line to meet Rick. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Pete's band?
Awesome band. I have seen them before, and they do the tribute to what is his name?
David Bowie.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and so much fun. But I have seen Pete before. This is not my second go around. It is not going to be my last one. But I must tell you all, I encourage at least one time you have got to make one of them events because it is so fun, so educational. Then you get to mingle with other people, other survivors. You learn so much, and then you go out to have fun with everybody. And it's just so much fun. And I mean, you get to let you know the first night you get educated and you learn, and we talk about aorta and get educated, and you realize, okay, mental health, yeah, I'm not cuckoo by myself, this is a real thing. But it is so fun, and then the following night you get to have fun with other people, and everybody's got to go at least one time. I'm going to keep on going, my friend.
So then after Pete's band performed, which was great, then we had the headliner of Rick Springfield. And I don't care if you don't even know his songs. There was an empty seat in that house, and there wasn't anybody who was seated. Everybody stood for 2 hours straight. He's very interactive, and
Yes.
you know songs more than you realize.
Absolutely.
And we had a good time.
Yes.
And we had a good time. And it's a little difficult, older, and having aortic disease to stand for those 2 hours and dance. But every woman I could hear leaving, and a lot of men too, just said that they felt like they were reliving their youth, going back to as early as age 13, 14, 15. And for 73, this man is fine. Fine. Wonderful.
It wasn't just, him performing the concert, because a lot of time when you go to a concert there, they might talk to the first people in the front, but he literally interacting with people. He got off, the stage and started climbing over chairs, and anybody that wanted to be touched or reached, he did. I don't know if you've seen it, Karen, but behind us, it was 2 stories. He literally went to the very edge and tried to climb the balcony. Did you see that?
Yes, he was reaching up to the balcony.
Up on
Yeah.
top.
Yeah. He went up to the
Yeah.
balcony off the stage. People had their hands through the metal
Down.
guard on the
Yes.
balcony, and he doesn't mind being touched. He
No.
loves interaction with the public, which is wonderful. But to Diane's point, this is just expanding and it's going to continue to grow. So the opportunities you have left would be attending the event in Baltimore, Maryland, with the Night
Mhm.
Ranger as the headliner. That's happening in April, and then in May, the headliner is Sebastian Bach, and that is happening in Fargo, North Dakota. And you can check out all of that information, register for symposiums online, attend that or the concerts in person by going to the rockfromtheheart.org website page. So I think now we're officially ready to get started with our own weekend review. And again, before we get started with this, please remember to click like, click subscribe, and you'll get the bell. It'll notify you every time we go live, when we have guest speakers, when we're just being crazy, when we have survivor stories that are, survivor stories that are being told live, which are amazing. So click the bell. And don't forget to hit share and allow other people to find out about the work that we're doing over here and become accurately educated as well. So let's start.
Hold on.
Monday was a simple day
Hold on.
because,
Hold on.
Mhm,
Let's say
yeah.
hi to Karen Heichel. She says she's
Hey,
glad to see
Karen
you made it
Heichel.
back.
We did. We got a chance to meet Karen over at the symposium, which was
Yeah.
wonderful. So great. We got a chance to
Karen.
meet quite a few people over there as well. And that's always fun when you see them online or in our bingo events or stuff, to get a chance to see them face to face. It was great to see you, Karen. Thanks for coming out. We do appreciate that. All right. Monday, because we were nearing the end of our Heart Month. It was our grab some swag for Heart Month. We just wanted to give you guys a reminder that there was a few days left, and there still is. You still have today and tomorrow. Perfect time to order your seatbelt cover. Here they are. They're awesome. They're bright. They are eye-catching. We've got the medic alert symbol there at the top. You can choose between Marfan syndrome, thoracic aortic aneurysm, abdominal aortic aneurysm, aortic dissection survivor, Loewy-Dietz syndrome, or just your general medic alert. We actually have some of these belts in French too. We will be getting them in Spanish as well, but you can choose red, yellow, or black. It's $15 donation, $20 if you are international. We are struggling right now a little bit. What happened to you guys in the EU? Why are you charging people when they pick up their packages that they have to pay a fee? That's crazy. We will figure out.
Crazy.
It's insane. And you can't send them something because it doesn't matter if it's personal or organization. They have to pay a fee to pick up parcels. It's like so ridiculous. We're going to figure it out. We'll make it happen for you. But with those numbers for the donations, you can order your belt. They're bright, they're eye-catching, they're a thin material that actually wraps around your seatbelt and Velcros. It's about 9x2. They have a clear plastic pocket on the inside where you can put a card that has been printed for you, where you can add all of your medical information, your emergency contact, your allergies, the medications you're taking, so that first responders get a first look at that if they need to in an emergency. So the designs could vary slightly, but they don't really. It's really not often what you're seeing here. And you can just wash them with a wet rag. It comes off really easily. So there's a link here. There's also a link on our Hope Shop page where you can order those as well. I know I've got two. I've got them covered in both cars, one on the passenger side, one car has it on the driver's side. So it's always there. You got some?
I do. I have one in my Ford Taurus. Sure do.
Okay, very good. I have mine into my Toyota Highlander. Okay. All right, topic Tuesday. So many community members are taking beta blockers. I mean, I don't really know many that aren't. I would say probably most are, but do we even know what a beta blocker is? I don't. I know we've had a presentation from Dr. Kristen Watson, and her information is actually on here under our resources section. You will see a PDF that explains, or actually it's a PowerPoint presentation that explains pretty much all of the drugs and classifications of the medications that we take in the community. But the Cleveland Clinic actually explains that beta blockers are a class of medications that are commonly used for problems that involve your heart and your circulatory system. And they're also sometimes used to treat heart conditions related to your brain and your nervous system. Beta blockers actually work by slowly, they basically slow down certain types of cell activities, which can help control blood pressure, your heart rate, and a lot more. So I think everybody just says beta blocker, high blood pressure, but they do many different things. And uh, the conditions that are typically treated by a beta blocker, again, they treat heart and circulatory conditions, but that could be an aortic dissection. So people who have had that are typically first line of defense are going to be given a beta blocker. If you have an arrhythmia, if you have chest pain or angina, if you've had a heart attack or coronary artery disease, or you have heart failure, especially chronic heart failure, high blood pressure obviously would be prescribed a lot of times beta blockers. Hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy, which is another fancy long word for enlarged heart. Migraines, it can be used to help prevent them, and portal hypertension. But there's a lot that really needs to be learned about beta blockers. I know a lot of people really don't like taking medications, but I think it helps that if you understand not only the classification, but what the drug does, sometimes it's easier to swallow that beta blocker if you understand more of how it works. But there's a lot of information in this article about why they're prescribed, what their possible side effects are. And again, this article is strictly for educational purposes. This is not to give you information to sway you to take your medications or not take your medications. But if you have a question about what you're taking, this could help you start that conversation. So let's talk a little bit about beta blockers. Tell me, were you put on metoprolol in the hospital?
Yes, and the thing about that is they changed me several times, the milligram. Uh, as of right now, which I'm thinking is affecting me, they upped the milligram on it, and I'm thinking it's making me dizzy. But they changed the milligram several times. They have changed that. They changed my medication around and try something else. I'm not taking no blood thinner or some other things that I used to, but I am taking less medication as I was before.
Right. I think a lot of people end up taking metoprolol in the hospital. That seems to be tried and true. And then they're sent home with labetalol. I pretty much have heard that from many people. And I think your body, if you've not been on that type of drug before, it's a little bit of a shock to the system. I know I was on, let's see, it was lisinopril. So I was taking one of the prills. I can't remember if that's an ACE inhibitor, calcium channel blocker. I don't remember, but it's not a beta blocker. So it's not, beta blockers tend to end in LOL. They're the lols, carvedilol, nebivolol, labetalol, metoprolol, and they all are a little bit different. And I don't really remember which classification that if you take one and have an adverse reaction, it means you're going to have one in all of them. You'd have to really go back to that PowerPoint presentation and listen to the video that's on our YouTube channel. But it doesn't necessarily mean if you don't do well on one, that you won't do well in another. Case in point, I came home with labetalol and it was on 900 milligrams a day. I couldn't even remember where I lived if I went to the store. I was so foggy in my brain. And then I told my doctor, I kept track of my blood pressure readings, kept track of how I was feeling. And she made the switch like you. And I was put on Bistolic, which is also known as nebivolol. And it was like the cloud just lifted. And I began functioning back to my old me. I felt like me again. So
Right.
I think it's important that if you track what your blood pressure is doing when you're put on a new medication or new dosing, you can't really say anything after a few days. These medications take a couple weeks before they're fully in your system, as they take a couple hours to enter your system. So you don't really level out for a few weeks, but that's why journaling is important. And then share with your doctor how you're feeling, because if you're not comfortable, talk to them, let them make that decision. There's so many medications out there. Like, let them make the decision on if it's important to move you to something else, and if so, why, or if not, why.
Mm.
So,
Very
and
good.
you've had that talk. You had that talk with your doctor.
Absolutely, I did.
Hmm.
And I
It's
might have it
important.
again. They might
And
have
you
to
might,
bring me down. So,
right. Yeah, and sometimes you need to cut the pills. I mean, most pills, if you can
yes.
cut them easily, they're already scored. You just snap them. But there are medications like Bistolic is typically triangular or heart shape, which is crazy.
Mhm.
And so if it's heart shape, if you get one of those, you can just cut it. If it's triangular, pill cutter is going to destroy it. If it's round and it's not scored, pill cutters work great. Don't try to use a butter knife. If it's not scored, you truly need a pill cutter. But if it's scored already, you can just snap those pills. And sometimes it's just a matter of taking a half dose. Try it. You already paid for the pills, so you snap them. The doctors will explain all that to you, but keep the journal so you can have that conversation. And I think it's cool to learn about these different classifications. It's very interesting to learn the effects they have, on your vessels, on your heart, on everything.
Okay.
Topic Tuesday.
Can I say though that please make sure and talk to your doctor, make sure that that particular pill can be cut. There was something about a pill that I was going to cut in half, and I was told not to break them in half.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, there are some drugs that you can't. Matter of fact, most pills that are not scored, you're not supposed to cut them in half unless your doctor tells you to.
Right.
If they say use the pill cutter and do it, then they know you can. But there are a few drugs that you just you really can't. Right. So that's a good point. Okay, our post on Thursday, we had 2 of them actually, but we wanted to let you know that we have a new section on our resources page. It's reading resources, resources that are by the community for the community. And last year we started a book reading event, which was really fun and exciting. But if you're looking for a good book to read, why don't you check out one of the books that are written by community members? I mean, they were written by community members for the community. So we have a couple books. We're going to go over a few of them down below. If you've written a book and you want to share it with the community, send Aortic Hope an email at info@aortichope.org, and we will add you to this growing list. So this is the first one by Terry Benson. We did have her on. Her video lives in our YouTube section. You should check it out. How My Ordinary Became Extraordinary. And it basically, most of these stories explain their experiences, their story of survival, and kind of where they are a little bit now in life. I'm not going to go into all the details about each book, but this is the first one that was up by Terry Benson. The second one was called Dissected, Healing with Poetry, My Journey with 2 Aortic Dissections. That was written by Maria Herrera. And what's interesting about this book is it's actually poetry. So a variety of different types of poetry. And it's her story and her interpretation, but she's had 2 different dissections. So her first one in 2009, her other one came years later, and she kind of explains that and her thoughts and her emotion through poetry. The third one, Miracle Man. This one's been out for a long time. This is by Scott Pribble. It's Miracle Man, Beating the Odds, Cheating Death. This really goes over everything that happened to him and his story of survival. And really, his goal is to explain how you can still stay in shape, how you can transform this event while being monitored by doctors, the best way that worked for him in eating and working out and maintaining his shape, and what worked for him, of course, in conjunction with doctor recommendations. So all of that is in there. And then we also have Everyday Sinner, Undeserved Miracles from an Unconditional God, written by, it's actually Andrea Garrett Helms, A.G. Helms. And again, she talks about her experience with her dissection and her children and her journey and personal experience with God and her spirituality.
Did we just lose Karen?
We did.
Her internet has been spotty for a little bit. She's almost back.
Yes.
Okay, if that happens again, I'm gonna hop right on with my phone and we'll have no break at all. But sometimes I have this little technical difficulty with a little thing called Wi-Fi. It's really irritating. Okay, so again, if you would like to join this list of resources, shoot us an email at info@aortichope.org. This is, again, all for informational purposes. This is not to help you make any medical decisions for yourself, just to help validate your experiences and also maybe create questions in your mind that you can take back to your physician. So that is our reading resources. Have you had a chance to read any of these?
I did. I actually, the one with the poetry, very unique way that she wrote it, and very beautiful, even though it's tragic, some of the things, that she had went through. But I do have that one.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, let's go on to trauma in the ER on Therapeutic Thursday. Again, Therapeutic
Yeah.
Thursday and our Friday posts are led by Jess McCracken, our friend all the way from Canada. But she's going to really talk about trauma and when you have to go back to the hospital or back to the emergency room after you've had an aortic event or any trauma at all. There is trauma involved in having to set foot in that hospital for the first time. This was a really touchy subject because I know this happened to her very recently. But so her blood pressure gets really ramped up and even through the roof if she even set foot near a doctor's office or an ER or a hospital. Blood work, no thank you. She says, no thank you. She can survive. She's just like me. She can survive open heart surgery, but you take her for a needle to get blood work and she's ready to pass out. I say the exact same. Cut my chest open, excuse me, but don't give me an IV. Like, no way. So she has survived the healing and the effects of open heart surgery. However, she needed extra strength Tylenol just to like get through any other types of pain. So she feels like if I can survive this, I can survive pretty much anything. So the article that she included, it really gives you some strategies on how to battle through stress. She asks everybody to take care of themselves, to be gentle on yourself, ask for help if necessary, and reach out to others who offer help and take it. So tell me about how you feel, because I know we've had many trips back and forth to the ER since our first event. You've had 2 surgeries now. How's that feel for you going back in?
I hate it. Um, the trauma, and I'm gonna tell you, I must say, and I'm sure you ran into it. Everybody's probably got their own story, but uh, going back to the ER, besides the PTSD, some of the people or the uh, what can I say? Those that care for you in the hospital have no clue and are, I guess, because they see it every day or whatever, are not so sympathetic. Not that you're asking for sympathy, but you want a little like respect, kind of. Can I say that? Because sometimes, like you go in, when I was had my operation, and they asked me, to get a undress or whatever, or to do something to get up and walk, and I was trying to get up. There was so much in a hurry and pulling. I mean, it's like, wait a minute. I mean, eh, they're they see it every day. I understand you got to get up and move. I know that's their job, but coming out of some of the things, going first to the ER, say if I have to go in tonight or something, I'm going to dread well, not so much being the sit and wait, because they automatically take me to the back because of aortic dissection in my history. But it's just eliminating process that they go through, and of course, that's natural protocol. They go through the eliminating process. I mean, the only bad thing is, uh, whenever I was first misdiagnosed, their eliminating process went haywire because I was diagnosed with anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, it was aortic dissection and being shipped off to another hospital for emergency surgery. So uh, it's just, I just wish sometime that they'd be a little bit more compassionate. And that's when your caregiver or your spouse or significant other needs to sit there and say, look, this is what this is what you can and can't do. And maybe they'll understand a little bit more. Because sometimes you do have to advocate for yourself. And I'm going to bring this up because it kind of makes me mad now that you were on this subject, because
Yeah.
I was asking, after I had my first open heart surgery, I had to go back to the ER. My blood pressure was out of the roof. Okay. I went to the ER. They put me in the room. They had their orders. They gave me something for blood pressure, but it was not working. And guess what? I had to get for something else to bring my blood pressure down. However, the nurse that was there telling me, ma'am, we're sorry. We have to wait for doctor's order, which again is normal protocol, I guess. They got to wait for the doctor order. Then it's got to go to the pharmacy. But if it wasn't for my husband saying, look, her blood pressure can't be high 'cause she just had open heart surgery, I would had that fear of blowing. I had the fear of actually dying there, and I could have, because I was to the point where I was turning colors, and I couldn't get comfortable. I was balled up in fetal position, and if it wasn't for my husband and kept on them and telling them, look, this is what this is. Sometimes they don't have no clue. So do speak up when you go in there. Let them know your blood pressure and the condition and the importance of it. Because some of them don't have no clue. So it's important that you do let them know when they go in.
I think we might have lost Karen again.
I think so too. She has her
I
eyes
agree
closed.
with you. Self-advocacy is the way.
Yes.
She's
Yes,
back.
you have to. Okay.
I was about to switch to my phone. I'm on the ready. I'm technologically ready to go. I got plan B, but I'm
Got
here with you. I
yes.
counted till
Yes.
5.
Have
I'm
you had
ready.
any
I'm back.
experience with Karen?
Oh gosh. Yeah, so
Yes.
just like you, about 5 days, once I came home from the hospital, I only lasted a couple days. The pain was out of control. I had no pain control, high blood pressure, went back in via ambulance right away. So
Mm-hmm.
they took me right back. But for me, I had to go to the hospital many times. So I was experiencing a combination of complex migraines and TIAs, which are mini strokes, and they present exactly the same. I can have a complex migraine and be slurred speech and drooping side of my face and numb, but it's not a stroke. It's actually a migraine. So, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't. I don't know the difference. So I'd have to go. The problem is they will always call for a rapid response team to the triage. That's like 6 or 7 doctors in there, all asking you questions at once. I finally just have to say to them, I have PTSD. I can't answer any questions unless there's one voice because I'm so full of anxiety. It's too much input. I won't be able to speak. And they didn't believe me. And I started having multiple people. Someone's trying to put an IV in, someone's talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing came out. And I would start to panic. Like literally, I'm looking at my mouth, nothing's coming out. It's in here. They have to give me an Ativan and calm me down. But it's much easier when I go to the ER to say one voice, one person, or I will not be able to answer any questions. I tell them what I need from them so that they can do an effective job for me. My husband knows this. This is our plan. If I can't advocate for myself, he knows one voice, one person, one way communication, or she's going to deteriorate rapidly. That's just me. It just is what it is. But I think for any of us, many of us, the first time we have to go back, get our first blood test, oh my God, the first CAT scan, not even CAT scan, MRI, because I can't do CAT scans anymore because I'm allergic to the dye, very allergic. When I got my first MRI, I made them put towels down the center of my chest because I thought my chest was going to like explode like Alien. I just pictured sternum wires popping out of the center of my chest. And they would say, Mrs. Anderson, they're not going to spring out. I said, I don't believe you. Put some towels and keep that from exploding out of my chest. I needed what I needed, and they were very kind and accommodating. But you have to tell people, I've
Right.
had medical trauma. I need you to go slowly and please be patient with me, or I will freak out. It's just
Right.
what you have to do. Because they do, it's like they do this every day. And with any job in the world, once you're doing it so often, you build up blinders and you forget that to everybody coming to you, it's their first moment of that day, or it's
Exactly.
just their first moment. Yeah. But
Exactly.
check out this article for tips that might help you during a traumatic event that happens in the ER. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Very good.
All right. Off to Feel Good Friday. Jess wanted to share with you some hopeful news rather, of future surgeries that are way less invasive to the patient. I thought this was so interesting. But so this particular surgery that's in this article and in the picture was done at the hospital where she actually had her open heart surgery back in 2018. And she loves the fact that this device that they're talking about can ensure that patients have done what is needed, but that it's not risky or painful like open heart surgery. So I guess I probably click right on this link and let's check this out a little bit. But this happened in London, Ontario. And if you get into this article a little bit, I'm sure what they're talking about here is this new device that actually allows them to have access um, without compromising leg flow to the kidneys and to the legs. So let's see, it's an endovascular. So this is it's called an it's EN side, like ENSIDE stent graft. It has a unique design with its own branches that live within this device, and it doesn't matter if you have a change in your anatomy. And so it's a less invasive procedure. It's often safer, results in better experience for the patient, including reduced pain, fewer complications, and a quicker recovery. So less time that you have to spend within the hospital. Um, and as they say, typically an aortic dissection would be a very challenging procedure to treat, and often the only option is to do a traditional open surgery within the chest, which we learned at the symposium can be that full sternotomy, or it can be maybe just a couple inches long. Like I would have liked that one. But typically it is through the chest and can go as far down into the abdomen. And the regular surgery requires a lot more time to have recovery. And what they're doing right now is actually a lot quicker. It sounds like this device is, as they're showing some pictures here, is done endovascularly and goes up through the aorta. So you should really check this out. I mean, there's a lot of information in here that explains how it's done. And again, this is what's taking place in Canada. We love sharing some of the new information on the surgeries and the techniques and the tips and stuff that are happening in other countries. But check out that article when you get a chance.
Yes.
Let's move on to Survivor Series Saturday. So again, this was just one of our reminders that the community wants to hear from you. They need to hear from you. This is one of the things we discussed at the symposium, that be a shining star in someone's life. Share your story. They will feel validated by hearing any bits of your story that's somewhat familiar. You're going to see people in the crowd saying, yep, that happened to me. They also want to learn a little bit more of the things that happened to you that didn't happen to them, because that creates questions to take back to their physicians. And what we are really looking for is for some of the symptoms that you experience, as well as what it was like when you got to the hospital. We're kind of looking for both that golden standard of care and having that immediate CT scan, and the unfortunate times where people are either misdiagnosed or they're not given the test that they need to in a timely experience. But we're going to share your video or your written story or your live event with Think Aorta as well. Because it's important that the first responders and medical professionals within the EDs learn about these stories and the different things that are being implemented across the country. If you've already participated in our Survivor Story, please click the link to be in our Where Are They Now series, because we would love to find out what you're doing. You have 3 different ways to participate: written format, doing a pre-recorded video, or the most daring and yet the most innovative way, which is just to go live on our AHTV, on our YouTube channel, just like we are here with you today. Take questions from community members, and then we can shoot this out everywhere so many people can see it at once. Diane, you did a phenomenal job sharing your story at the symposium. It was wonderful.
Thank you. I'm so sorry that I was late, because I was looking forward to getting there a day early, but better late than never. I
Exactly.
thank Rock from the Heart for giving me the opportunity to speak. And I want to thank, of course, Aortic Hope for all that they're doing. And I'm very proud to be your ambassador and help get the word out, work with y'all as well as with Rock from the Heart. I got your back and I'll be there.
We've got yours. All right. That's our
hold on.
Survivor Series. Yes, we're going to hold on.
On the previous article, Karen had a question. Is part of the reason for the large cut to view the abdominal aorta?
That would be a super large cut. I think it would have to be in a really big emergency. I think the traditional way is a larger cut because it gave them open, immediate access to just get that sternum out of the way. But from what we learned, and I think you might have heard that, Karen, during the symposium, is that they are going to a smaller cut if they're able to just address an ascending aneurysm that might have dissected. They can just now limit it to that area. But if they believe there's any possibility of additional dissection, then they're going to want to open us up to check it out, make sure everything is perfusing properly, there isn't any blood collecting around the heart, that dissection seems contained. But I think typically that is the traditional way, but they are now starting to slowly use a smaller cut. That's at least what they were saying. So I'm not really sure how much that's being adapted, and I don't know the circumstances under which they choose one over the other. I think it might be a doctor's personal choice too. I know we don't get the choice.
No.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
No.
Look, if I knew they were going to go all the way down, I would have been like, all right, let's do a little tummy tuck while we're putting me back together. Let's, but that's all right. Okay, on to Sunday. Rare patient voice. Tomorrow is Rare Patient Disease Day. It's Rare Disease Day. That's when we all talk about that zebra. That is the known mascot for rare diseases, and tomorrow is Rare Disease Day, and we actually are going live tomorrow. Let me double check that time. On the 28th, we are going to be here live. So if you hit the bell, you'll get a chance to actually hear and see what we're going to be talking about at 3 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow for Rare Disease Day. But we wanted to share with you on Sunday Rare Patient Voice. So we've had this relationship with them. It's our 4th year collaborating with them. Basically, Rare Patient Voice allows patients and caregivers really an opportunity to share their opinion, to sign up and have an opportunity to answer questions, to take surveys, to be part of interviews. And that's really going to help improve medical products and services. You could be doing these interviews for medical professionals, new students, pharmaceutical, medical device companies. But Wes Michael, who was the president and founder of Rare Patient Voice, he started this back in 1998, and he's been interviewing and surveying patients and caregivers, nurses, physicians, medical advocacy leaders, more than 40 years. He's had this experience in marketing and research and 20 years specifically in healthcare. And so while they started on rare diseases, they've included all diseases. So what's really cool about them is when you sign up using this link below, you want to put in all of your medical conditions. Number one, it gives you a much broader opportunity to be called upon to answer questions. And every time a new person signs up, Aortic Hope receives $10. What's in it for you? You have an opportunity to earn anywhere from $25 to $150 each time they clear you and the organization chooses you to participate in their market research. So if you want a chance to give back to the community and have your voice heard, sign up with Rare Patient Voice. Have you done that, Diane? Have you signed up?
No, I have not.
Diane, you got to sign up. You got to watch what we're doing tomorrow. It's a little similar, but kind of very different.
What time? You have not told us the time. You told me to listen to the bell.
Yes, listen to the bell. The bell will happen tomorrow. You're going to find out tomorrow, right before 3 o'clock. You're going to find out what we're launching. But this is really simple. It's really an easy survey to fill out. I know that one of our board members, oh my gosh, they've gotten called. I think they've probably earned over $300 now at this point by answering surveys with them. I've earned a couple. I've earned a little bit because I have a couple medical conditions, and it just will automatically email you and tell you, hey, we've got a survey based upon the medical conditions you've shared. Do you want to answer it? So I think it's worth it. I think you should try. It does give you an opportunity to give back to the community and kind of allow your voice to be heard in helping dictate the things that you are going to have to do, take, whatever related to your medical conditions. Rare Patient Voice. I will share with you Sunday. And we will have our events page up and loaded, ready to go next Monday. We're dragging.
So Karen Heichel says that she signed up, but she hasn't been contacted yet.
You know what? I would double check. I'd go in there. They're very quick to respond. If you have signed up and you've not been in contact with anything, double check the list that you provided them of your medical conditions and shoot them a message. There could be some kind of technical thing going on. It could just be they haven't received a survey related to the specifics of your condition or your demographics. There's a lot of things that go into it, but I would definitely reach out to them and see.
Yeah.
I would say I found out about them through the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. So I don't really get notified that much from them. as much as I will every now and then for something aortic or cardiovascular related.
Yeah, I did ask if she put her other medical conditions in there along with her aortic stuffs, and she said yes.
Okay. Sometimes you just need to make a phone call and make sure that they have all your right information and something didn't get bejumbled in technology land. I don't trust technology 100%.
Oh,
I don't trust it. Something always a gremlin in something. Like in my
hey,
computer today, it's a gremlin. Not my
sometimes
fault.
I
It's a
can't
gremlin.
trust myself mashing the wrong button either,
No,
right?
I know. I
Malfunction.
had I had to do something at Southwest. I had to do something at Southwest. I was looking for my pre-board. She's like, it's already on your electronic app. I'm like, people don't use paper boarding passes. What do you mean? She's like, let me teach you. I'm like, oh God, I'm so embarrassed. So we had to learn that. There's my boarding pass. It lives in my phone, and there it says pre-board
Mhm.
right there. I was like, God, I'm technologically slightly disabled. It was embarrassing. But you do get a
Y'all.
chance. You do get to learn something new all the time, right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. Did you notice I sent you a picture of my son with your face mask on? He
Huh?
looked like Simba. He looked like Simba from The Lion King. He wanted to try it out, and he put the gold face mask on. And I took a picture. He looks like Lion King. It was
I have got
hysterical.
to check it out.
He liked it. He said it felt really nice and cool and soothing. He's
Well,
like,
I have to send you.
don't let it hurt my beard, huh?
I have to send you some more now.
Of course, yes, you will. All right, everybody, we are going to go and try to recover from this amazing,
Yeah.
glorious weekend. You can check out all of the photos on Rock from the Heart's page, on Aortic Hope's Facebook page. We've got a lot of that there. Plus on Instagram, they have been shared on the Instagram account through Aortic Hope. And then I also have an Aortic Hope related Instagram account. It's aortic_life_with_Karen, Carin. Check that out as well. Di, thank you so much for joining us today, putting that face on and being ready to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Everybody, click like, click subscribe, leave us a comment, click share. Thank you so much, Karen, for joining us today. And we will see you all next Monday. Actually, I'll see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. and I'll see you all next Monday, same time, same place. Thank you. See ya.
Thank you.